everybody, it's Jianna, and I'm here with Jay Activist today talking about his new project that he has coming out.
What's up, what's up? How y'all feeling? We good?
We are good.
All right, for
So
sure.
what made you want to do a Valentine's Day project?
I feel like I talk about like love and women and just relationships and stuff like that a lot of my music. So I just feel like it makes sense. That's what gets the most reception. I feel like I talk about a lot of things in my music, but I feel like what gets the most attention or the most noise is definitely the stuff like with women.
So like you said, you have a lot of love songs, whether they be about toxic relationships or crushes or anything like that. So what makes this Valentine's Day project different from the other love songs that you make?
I would say like this one definitely like from a structure standpoint, it's a little more vulnerable. Like I feel like, cause there's certain, I think the oldest song on there is like almost 3 years old.
Okay.
And the newest song on there is like a week old. So it's like, I went back to find something that's really hard hitting to the heart.
So if we're going a little bit more vulnerable, are you in like your lover era, or are we talking about a little bit more heartbreak?
Not quite, but we getting there.
Okay.
To the love it era.
What's stopping you? What's slowing you down?
Just finding the right person, honestly.
Okay.
Yeah. When it comes, it comes.
All right. So then, what would that look like for you, finding the right person?
I really feel like I'm big on compatibility and connection. So like. And then just things just making sense. Like, if it's two different lifestyles and we wouldn't have crossed paths if we weren't talking. Like, I prefer it to be a thing where it's like, even if me and whoever aren't together or whatever, we would have crossed paths regardless. Like, we be in the same areas type of thing. So it's like, I kind of like that because it also makes for more conversation.
It feels like it makes sense.
Yeah, in a sense. So.
Okay. So what do you think about the lemon pepper cocktail?
I ain't gonna lie. When I tried it, I thought it was gonna be nasty because I'm thinking like they just put lemon pepper seasoning into like a cocktail, but like it actually wasn't bad. It tastes like a grown like lemon drop.
Okay, I never had a lemon drop.
Really?
Yeah.
Why you never had a lemon drop?
I just never had the urge. I'm scared it's gonna be too tangy.
Dang.
You know, like when you drink something and it just make you like suck your lips in, like.
It's not overpowering.
Okay.
We'll try one day.
All right. Okay, so would you say that it's easier for you to express your feelings in your music more rather than somebody that you're actually dealing with?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Because like I feel like in the music I can be as honest as I want to be. Because it's like in the music I also don't have to show nobody. Like I've got songs like where I've made because of like something, you know, that's really, really affected me that nobody has heard or nobody will ever hear. Because it's like, it almost goes back to it being like a therapy or like something that, it's almost like venting or journaling. It's just I'm doing it with a melody.
Does it kind of, like when you're writing your music, does it kind of stop you from, or do you stop yourself from oversharing or being too emotional, or not too emotional, but like too vulnerable?
I'm actually trying to get more vulnerable in the music, like just get more comfortable with just being raw and just being like, okay, this is how it is in a sense. So I would say it's more so the opposite. Okay.
So what would be like your take on modern dating culture, and like how does it kind of make its way into your music?
That's a good question. Let me think on it.
A lot of people say everybody's toxic, don't nobody want to love. So what's your take?
Let me think for a second.
Okay. By all means. Do 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 do.
Still thinking.
That's wild.
Let's take a break, actually. Like what? Let's take it one question at a time.
Okay.
What's your take on modern dating culture?
I feel like modern dating culture is I feel like there's not enough honesty.
Okay.
Like, I feel like if people were just more direct and straight to the point, it would like lead us closer to what we actually want. And then I also feel like it's a thing of like, we have unrealistic expectations for certain people. We always trying to change people. I feel like that's a big flaw that a lot of us have.
Okay, that's valid. I feel like that kind of already answers the next question of like, how does it show up in your music? Because you do be saying a lot in your songs, I done already told you how I felt about you. Like, so you don't need the answer.
Oh, goodness.
I know that I said that a lot of people talk about like toxic dating culture and stuff like that. And I'm low-key one of them. I do feel like...
What you be saying about it?
I just feel like nobody really wants commitment. So that kind of shows up in the way that I listen to love songs, because I feel like a lot of modern love songs, I don't be feeling the love. I don't be feeling the love at all. So
I feel like it's kind of like two things. So I feel like one of the things is a lot of times where we meet people.
okay.
And then another thing is also, I know like a lot of times guys, they'll be like, there ain't no more good women left. Like they all act like this, they all act like that. But like they'll only find women in specific places, like let's say a club or like a party or something like that, to where it's like people aren't there to find commitment in something long term. Like that's why I be thinking, I'm like, if you want to find the person you want to find, like that's looking for that, go to a library.
Go read a book.
Go read a book. Nah, for real, because I feel like, especially women that read, she automatically a real lover because she love to read.
How does that correlate?
Let me cook.
All right. No, take your time.
Like,
I'm actually interested in it.
Because it's like, if she's stimulating her mind with something like that, it don't necessarily, okay, it's not necessarily.
Take your time.
It might not make her like a real lover off bat, but like, I feel like inherently she's gonna have more emotional intelligence than the average woman.
Okay.
Just because she reads, because 9 times out of 10, she's gonna read something romantic at some given point. Maybe.
I feel like it depends on the type of books that they be reading, but it's valid.
Valid.
Yeah. Or they just really love the book, and then they feel it that way. But in the topic of just like, you know, love songs, not really feeling the love anymore, is this next project like a celebration of love? Is it kind of like a breakup album? Is it a critique? Like, what are we looking at?
I would say, honestly, it's a little bit of everything.
Okay.
So, one of my favorite songs on there is called Hold Me Down. So, like, that one is just like, I feel like that's a song for like the real lovers, as far as like, you're gonna go through good times, you're gonna go through bad times with that person, but like, are y'all willing to figure it out and stick through it? Like, and I feel like when I say that too, I'm also excluding things like cheating. Like, I feel like cheating isn't a up or down. I feel like that's just, I feel like, why are we cheating? Like, in a sense. So, excluding that, but I feel like the regular ups and downs, I would say Hold Me Down is probably my favorite because of that. But yeah, I would say like overall, I do feel like real love is missing in music in general. Like, especially like in the 90s, I feel like they was really yearning.
Yeah.
Like, especially my dad, he's from the islands, and he used to play a lot of reggae music growing up. And like, a lot of it was just yearning. Like, you ever listen to Jacqueline?
No. I was gonna ask if you know Cry For You by Jodeci.
Probably know it if I hear it. I probably can't put the name with the sound right now.
It's like, lady, I would cry for you.
I think I've heard it.
Okay, but I actually think I have the wrong song. I'm not gonna lie. I'm thinking of a different one. But no, in the music video, they out there with leather jackets on in the desert, and they like shirtless, and they singing because she left. What time did she leave at? She left at like an hour ago, but the whole song was like, it's not Cry For You. Which one is it? It's been an hour since you've been gone, and that's too long, so come back home. Wait, that is Cry For You. I know what I'm talking about. But like you said, it's been an hour since she left, and they lost it. That's what I need in the song. At the end of the song, they run it over. Baby, I'm begging. Baby, I'm begging, begging, baby.
I feel like that's what's missing. Like, even in, have you heard Cole's new album?
No, but no, please. No, I was going to listen to it later.
I was going to say he referenced, he did an interpolation of Longing For, like, because Burna Boy is on there.
Okay.
He did an interpretation of Longing For about Jacqueline.
Okay.
But when I heard it, I was like, you know that meme with Cloudy with a Chance of Meatballs, and he's eating the noodle and then they take him back to the, not Cloudy with a Chance of Meatballs, Ratatouille.
Yeah.
And that's how I felt when I heard it. I was like, oh shit, like.
I think there is a scene in Cloudy with a Chance though, like that.
Probably. Yeah.
Sorry. Yeah. Continue.
There you go. I feel like that's missing, and I'm gonna bring that back.
Okay. Is it already brought back or?
A little bit here and there.
All right.
I'm seasoning it in.
Taking your time.
Yeah, I'm taking my time.
What can we expect on this album in terms of like storytelling, collabs?
So there are 2 collabs. One of them is a frequent collaborator. Her name is Kalia Lyric. That's funny. She calls herself the queen all the time. That's funny. Her and then Tony Marco. He's one of my producers, but like he randomly sent me a song like a year ago, and I was like, "Who's this singing on it?" He was like, "That's me." I said, "What you mean that's you?"
Producers be getting in the field sometimes.
No, like he can really like it's not even singing. He's singing. Like he sound like he yearning in the hook.
Okay.
So that's why I was like, okay, let me really get in my love bag when I do the verses.
Okay. I think I'd be excited for the song with Kalia because I listened to the one Lose You Again, right?
Oh yeah.
And y'all was in there like harmonizing a little bit together, so
Got to.
I could look forward to that.
Say less, say less.
So some might say that they're toxic. I'm not. You might be. I don't know. Hey, but what would you consider to be too toxic?
Too toxic? I feel like when shit start getting broken. And
Like physically?
Yeah.
Oh.
Like people start breaking shit. I feel like when knocking down doors unannounced, when things just start like escalating to the point where it's like it's costing money or somebody's health or like things like that, I feel like that's overly like we're doing too much.
Have you experienced something like that? Oh, okay.
Nah, I don't do toxic in a relationship.
Okay. So what's like the most romantic thing that you've done for somebody?
So I did a lot of research to find like messenger birds, and I wrote a letter, and then I paid somebody that has like a messenger bird to paid somebody that has a messenger bird. So like when we went out on a little walk, basically the messenger bird came and they had the letter in their hand. And
America, do you think that's true? No way.
The bird landed on my shoulder with the with the letter, and then I gave her the letter, and then I held her hand and I told her to read it.
Now you don't have to lie to me. You don't have to lie to the audience.
Who said I was lying? I just wanted to think outside the box.
Where do you find like people who still got like messenger birds even at? Like where did you look that up at?
I just did like Google, TikTok.
Oh my bad.
Yeah.
So
Cause like I was watching. You ever watch Avatar: The Last Airbender?
I never finished it.
Dang.
But
I was gonna say, you remember
watched
that episode where Sokka had the messenger bird from the Fire Nation? No.
I mean, I know what a messenger bird is.
Oh, but yeah.
Oh,
That's where I got the idea from.
Okay. When do you know you're in love? I'll give you a moment to think.
I would say when it's to the point where it's like, you know how like your grandparents, like when people had grandparents and it's like they've been together like, you know, for however long, but like it almost seems like they're family in a way. Like they're overly like, it's like they're family. It's like you can't really see them separated. It's like they're bound together.
Yeah.
Like I feel like when it's like that with somebody, I feel like at that point I'ma really, really be in love.
Okay. And thank y'all so much for tuning in. I'm Jianna, and if y'all ever want to see any more interviews like this, make sure to follow me at Jianna the Journalist.